France has received a letter of request, LOR, from India to sell Dassault Aviation's Rafale Marine to the Indian Navy for its aircraft carriers. The deal for 26 Rafale MIs reaching the finish line, the French aircraft maker is setting its eyes on the big ticket, an unfinished 114 jet order for the Indian Air Force. The LOR is like a tender document in which the Indian government has specified all its requirements and capabilities on the Rafale Marine aircraft. It will operate from aircraft carriers, INS Vikrant and INS Vikramaditya. The contract signing is still some time away, as France would still evaluate the LOR and reply to India with a letter of acceptance or LOA before cost negotiations for the 26 jets begin. The signing of the contract is expected in 2024. Dassault Aviation has seen the demand increase for Rafale omni-role fighter jets globally after it delivered 36 Rafales for the IAF in a government-to-government contract. Most recently, the French media claimed that Rafale has won a deal to supply 54 Rafales to Saudi Arabia after a veto from Germany dashed the chances of Eurofighter Typhoon winning the contract. Dassault Aviation's Rafale is competing against Boeing's FA-18 and F-15EX, Lockheed Martin's F-21, SAAB's Gripen, and 3 other prominent combat jets from around the world for the Indian Air Force tender, called the mother of all deals, to supply 114 multi-role fighter aircraft, MRFA. Rafale had, in 2013, won a previous tender for 126 jets, floated by the IAF in 2007, called the Medium Multi-Role Combat Aircraft MMRCA procurement program. But in 2015, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi cancelled the tender, which had become unviable, and bought 36 Rafale off the shelf from France in a nearly $8 billion deal. That's why Dassault Aviation sees this MRFA for 114 jets as an unfinished business. IAF plans to induct 6 squadrons of MRFA in a phased manner. The program would be progressed under the Make in India initiative of DAP 2020. Responses have been received for 8 aircraft types, IAF Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary told the Indian media. Experts, however, see the competition brewing between Dassault's Rafale, Boeing's F-15EX, and Saab's JAS-39 Gripen. ASQR's Air Staff Qualitative Requirements have been finalized, and detailed interactions with OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, have taken place. OEM commitments for indigenous content of selected categories and Make in India provisions are being sought. Envisaged to integrate indigenously developed AA, air-to-air, and AG, air-to-ground, weapons on MRFA being manufactured in India, the IAF chief added. The IAF floated the RFI in 2018 and got an enthusiastic response from aircraft makers worldwide for the multi-billion-dollar deal. After setting the fresh ASQRs, as the Eurasian Times earlier reported, the IAF is awaiting the government's nod to send a proposal for an acceptance of necessity, AON. For a year, there has been no movement on the MRFA deal. Air Marshal Narmdeshwar Tiwari, the former deputy chief of the IAF, had told journalists during Aero India 2023, held in February, that the AON is expected from the government in the next 3 to 4 months. It has been November, and the AON has not been granted yet to the IAF, which presently has 31 squadron strengths and stares at dwindling fighter squadron strength and an aging fleet. The IAF needs many aircraft to be recognized as a deterrence to the People's Liberation Army Air Force, PLAF. They, the IAF, have not been able to convince the Indian government that the imported aircraft are required in such large numbers. The whole process, up to aircraft delivery, will take 6 to 7 years. By then, Tejas Mk2 may also be ready for induction. That may be the reason for the government's indecision, the official offered. The IAF, towing the Indian government's Make in India policy, has already expressed the intent to order 90 more light combat aircraft Mk1. Rafale meeting IAF's urgent requirement. The IAF's requirement for the 114 MRFA is urgent to maintain a combative edge. Rafale has the advantage that the country's Air Force is already operating the aircraft, and the Navy will soon be inducting it,